going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. It is now Sunday, April 14th. We are getting there 11 days away from the NFL draft, where Washington theoretically starts the draft at second overall. The whole world knows what Chicago is doing at number one. As we draw closer and closer to the NFL draft, it appears everyone knows what's going to happen at number two. We are either in conclusion that Jayden Daniels is going to be the pick, or Washington is being sold wolf tickets yet again, and we're being set up for disappointment. It's why I've tried to play the fence and remain Switzerland neutral to the fact that I like both Jayden Daniels and Drake May. But the tea leaves and the signs just keep getting thicker that Jayden Daniels is going to be the pick. One of our own in the Commanders content creator community. Shout out to Jamal Forrest. Shout out to DC Sports Dre and AJ of the Trap or Dive podcast. Pulled the guest of all guests that you can have during draft season, the Don Dada of NFL Insiders, Adam Shefer, on their podcast, Trap or Dive. I'll put the link in the description below. They had Adam Shefer on to talk about it, and they got the sound bite of all sound bites to encapsulate the draft season for Washington. He pretty much said, buy your Jayden Daniels jerseys. I think that'll be a good idea for Commanders fans. Buy your Jayden Daniels jerseys now. And if we are going to buy them, I'd like to know what number it's going to be, because we don't have any single-digit numbers available. And I think there's a couple guys that need to be, you know what I'm saying, a couple guys that need to be discussed what their numbers should be on this team. But we'll get to the number part later. This is the week that Washington concludes all draft meetings. And in finality, we get to speak to the three quarterbacks. We get to speak to Drake May, JJ McCarthy, and Jayden Daniels. They're all coming down for 2-day visits in Ashburn, pretty much overnight visits with the team. This is when it's going to be fully decided. I think at this point, 11 days out, they have a feeling of who they're going to draft at number two, but I don't think it's cemented or like in wax until they bring them in for top 30 visits, because quarterback visits are not like the rest of the visits. They put you through the ringer. They want to get to know who you are as a person, what makes you tick, all of that. You can't necessarily get all that out at the combine meetings. It's like 15 or 20 minutes. It's theoretically speed dating. You're not really going to know who you truly mesh with, but you get a first impression. And a first impression means everything for some people. But these meetings will tell us exactly who the pick's going to be. And nothing Washington has done since Adam Peters has taken over really spells that they're going to be running around the town and telling everybody who they're picking. So I think guys are making educated hypotheses. They're taking context clues and making educated guesses as to what Washington's doing. I don't think there's a mole in the camp that is telling everybody, yeah, we're picking Jayden Daniels. But they're reading the tea leaves. First, we had Brian Kelly, Jayden Daniels' coach at LSU, who answered a question very honestly and transparently, say, Jayden for Washington. And then he comes down and doubles down on it and says, I do think Washington's going to select him. Obviously, you're going to ride for your guy. You're always going to ride for your guy. It's more of a glaring signal of disconnect if the college coach doesn't ride for the prospect. Like Urban Meyer didn't really ride for Dwayne Haskins the way that Brian Kelly rides for Jayden Daniels. But they only see Colin Cowherd, who stepped out there a couple times and said people are telling him. I don't think that there's someone in our front office or in that building or the Virginia Training Center at Commanders Park that's just out here singing to all the media who we're going to be selecting with the number 2 overall pick in the draft. But somebody knows something. Somebody's got to know something, or they're just running with shit. But Adam Schefter makes this thing interesting because he is the most reliable insider out there. Does he have a 100% always correct resume? No, but nobody does. There's nobody that's 100% correct about everything all the time. It doesn't exist in the media world. It doesn't exist in the real world, period. We all remember Adam Schefter saying the Niners were going to take Mac Jones, but he has far more hits than he has misses. And for him to come out and say Washington's taking Jayden, for him to double down on it, and then come on a Washington Commanders podcast, a fan-driven podcast, and say, y'all can buy your Jayden Daniels jerseys. That's a big deal to me. That is a big deal to me. But what it does is it sets up this storyline for us to be disappointed. If you follow my channel and you watched my draft stream last year with Jalen, Tay, Todd, Alex, Zach, and the whole group chat crew, we wanted Christian Gonzalez so bad. We pretty much had a team prayer circle, and we willed Christian Gonzalez down the board for us to then not take him at 16 and take Emmanuel Forbes over him. We were set up for disappointment. Washington fans now have been set up to be disappointed because now they fully expect Jayden Daniels to be the selection with the second overall pick in the draft. So be careful, guard your heart, and brace your feelings, because if you're still going into this thinking it's 100% Jayden, there is a chance we get to draft day and it's not, and you're going to be distraught. You're going to hate Adam Peters, yada, 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 etc. It's going to be a bad night for you. I'm trying not to have that happen to me because I enjoy the draft so much, and me and my boys are going to have such a grand time. This is our first draft really exiting the Dan Snyder era, where every remnant of Dan Snyder's fingerprints are officially out of the building. No one can ruin my draft experience. So I'm still trying to remain Switzerland. It still could be May. It may even be McCarthy. I don't think a trade back's happening, but I'm trying to remain open to the process. And I actually do like Drake May as well. And I have my pros and cons for him being the pick as well. But it just feels like it's Jayden Daniels or bust now. And that feels like a dangerous territory to be treading as Washington fans, because man, that Ben Johnson shit, that shit hurt. It was for the best that he ended up not getting the job. But the one person who told us it's not a lock and don't necessarily feel like this is going to be the case is Adam Schefter. Who Adam Schefter talking to in Washington's building? Who's feeding Adam Schefter information? Where is he getting this stuff from? Because somebody's getting something from somewhere, because these guys are poking their chest out and wholeheartedly declaring that we're drafting Jayden Daniels. And it's very interesting to me. Very interesting to me, but I'm not getting my heart involved yet. I like Jayden Daniels. I like Drake May. We're going to see what happens on draft night. But what are your guys' thoughts on Adam Schefter speaking so confidently at what Washington's doing at number 2? And what will your reactions be if he's not the pick at number 2? So since Adam Peters has taken over here at GM, nothing really that people predicted has taken place. Like everyone said, we're not going to go out and sign a bunch of players in free agency. Expect Washington to get aggressive on the second free agent market. Nobody expected us to stick out there and sign 23 players. No, we're not spending the cash on a bunch of top name free agents, but not one soul predicted we were going to go out and buy players for the entire period of free agency. Nobody predicted us to be that aggressive. They know we had a lot of players to fill the roster, but they were saying, yeah, there's no way they're going to just let everybody leave and then sign a bunch of guys. So the offseason is already headed on a different trajectory than what the consensus predicted it to be. So we're not out here moving so predictable that everybody can just say what we're going to do before we do it. So why do I feel like we need to believe everything people are saying from outside of the building if this crew is moving more covertly, more incognito, marching to the beat of our own drum rather than moving to the beat of the consensus in the national media and the local media alike? Nobody from the local media is reporting anything anymore. Everything they're getting is coming from national reports. So it appears to be significantly less leaks in the building. Where is this information coming from? It's a great question, but 11 days away from the draft now, Jayden Daniels is the significant favorite, betting favorite, and go look at mock drafts from national media and local media. Go look at them. 9.5 out of 10 mock drafts has Washington taken Jayden Daniels with the second overall pick. Does it mean they're correct? No. The majority of mock drafts end up being wrong once the actual draft ends up being played out. But this feels easy at this point. It feels like a layup that Jayden Daniels is coming to Washington. And if he does come to Washington, let's have a conversation with the punter, because I need him wearing the number he's worn his whole life. I'm sorry, I don't respect kickers and punters wearing single-digit numbers. Say what you want to me. A punter's a punter. I don't care if he's the best player on the team. He's a fucking punter. We'll have that conversation another day. I will stand firmly on that. Trustway needs to wear like 36, like he wore at college. But back to the topic of the conversation. If Jayden Daniels indeed is the pick at number 2, did these guys really figure something out, or was it just a round of elimination? Like, they know it's going to be one of two guys and they're all leaning on the guy who had the better 2023 season. We're never going to really get the full solution or the full answers to these questions on the test, but we will find out who Washington will be selecting at number 2 overall. I don't know if you guys seen it about last weekend. Jayden had a Instagram live with Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. It was very messy. It was hilarious. They were all hinting at places they were going to go. They were hinting at how their meetings have went, and it was funny. Jayden joked around that he thinks he runs a 4.25. They were all joking about what place he wants to go to. And from that IG live, I took from that there is a destination that Jayden holds close to his heart. Everyone has a preference. I'm pretty sure 99.9% of players in the NFL draft have a preference where they would like to go and they like to be drafted. And 98.7% of those guys are not going to be drafted by the preference that they have in their heart, and they will go wherever they get selected. Jayden Daniels' preference is definitely the Las Vegas Raiders, but unless they find a way to get the number 1 pick, it doesn't matter what the Raiders want or what Jayden Daniels wants, because Washington holds the second pick. And it's what happens when you go 4-13. You want the second pick of the draft? Be ass for a season. Don't win unnecessary games and score 60 points in primetime games versus divisional rivals, Vegas. So you want a quarterback? You're going to have to trade up to 3 and figure out what's left on the board if we take Jayden Daniels at number 2. But it doesn't matter what the guys' preference are, unless they're the top pick where they can kind of Eli the shit up. But we're almost there, y'all. This constant guessing and musical chairs of the quarterback position is 11 days from being over as we move closer to the NFL draft. Content will be coming more consistently on the channel again. I've been moving over this week, so it's been a long week. I've needed a lot of rest, but we are back up at it as we move towards the penultimate week before the draft. We're almost here, 11 days away. Everybody and their mamas believe Jayden Daniels is going to be the pick at number 2. Let me know where you stand as of April 14th. Is the media right? Is he just the correct pick and they're just guessing what we all should know? Or is this a smokescreen and our Washington fans being completely set up for disappointment when it comes to April 25th, night 1 of the NFL draft? That's all I got for right now. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Salute and shout out again to Maul, AJ, and Dre of the Trapper Dive podcast for getting a huge pull with Adam Schefter's coming on the show and dropping a bomb like Shefer did when he said, Commanders fans, go out and buy your Jayden Daniels jerseys. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Commander Rio, out.